Hello, fellow spy nerds. Todd here with editorial notes. This is a rebroadcast of our March episode on Le Bureau, also known as Le Bureau des Legendes, except des Legendes is spelled all French-like, and I don't know how to pronounce that part. Why is it a rebroadcast? Well, we do want to give this TV series a further look. So we're first going to revisit our thoughts on episode 1 of season 1 next week. We'll be back with a fresh take on episode 6 the following week, cap it out with a spoiler-full look at the season finale of the 10-episode series. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and give this a listen. Maybe it'll tempt you in, because we won't have spoilers, so you'll be safe. And if you're looking to find it, to watch or rewatch along with us, Amazon Prime is where to find it at the date of this recording. And here we go. Thank you. And we're just here to give our first impressions, our unresearched, barely thought out impressions of Le Bureau, which, by the way, I think it's in its 5th season right now. Mm-hmm. But we watched the first episode of the first season.
Yeah, we still haven't figured out how to tackle television. We have an exorbitant list of television, and it's all really solid television that we definitely want to get to. So if you have any thoughts, definitely shoot us an email or a tweet or something. But we were both on the edge of our seat watching this first episode, especially coming out after, Day of the Jackal, Battle of Algiers, Ronin. This show is definitely one of those, this is how you do it. And for those of you that have seen The Americans, I'm pretty sure you're really going to enjoy the show, because Todd and I were really giddy about it.
It is a French television show, so you're going to encounter some subtitles. I keep hearing that French television is kind of having a minor renaissance right now, that they're really starting to up their game and knock it out of the park with a lot of their shows. This show follows the DGSE, the current French intelligence service. It's been highly recommended as the best spy television show of all time by our fan. His name is Joe, right?
Jeff.
Okay.
I think it was Jeff.
And
or maybe it was Joe.
Also, I had heard critics describe it to me as being very similar to The Wire in terms of its quality of storytelling and human drama. I got in there. Okay, yeah. I freaking love the show. Let me try to enunciate why. One thing I'll throw out, just real quick, toss off, the music is really good.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the sound effects too, yeah.
I don't think I've ever said that about a television show before. The music the music is it's really nice. There is a startling lack of exposition in the show. You're just thrown right into the deep end. You're just fly on the wall watching the people. They don't handhold you at all or tell you who works for who or what their job is, what their past is. You have to infer it all from the dialogue. By the end of the episode, I felt like I had my arms around and felt like I understood who everyone is. But for a while there, it demands and also rewards paying very close attention.
Absolutely.
What else?
It was definitely. By the way, not paying close attention. You were right. It is Joe. Sorry, Joe. It's not Joe. But yeah, this is definitely not a letdown show. At the beginning, it's very, very confusing. I thought the main guy was the guy that got picked up by the police at the beginning, but it wasn't. The guy getting picked up is an agent known as Cyclone that has been picked up by the police in Algiers.
This is very quickly turning into the Algiers podcast. But
Yeah, this is the Algiers cinematic universe, apparently. I mean, yeah, one after another. Um, but no, yeah, like at first I wasn't sure who that guy was, but then you kind of find out there's this agent Cyclone who's been compromised, taken in by police in Algiers, and we follow our main character as well as getting to know the other characters in Le Bureau, um, trying to find out what happened to him and getting some more information. Um, and what's really interesting about this kind of setup is Cyclone is purported as a devout Muslim, and so when they had the taping of his training for interrogation while under the influence, he was like, "No, I've never drank and I'll never drink," which means if I'm being forced to drink, I've already been compromised. Just wouldn't do it. But here we start the show off. He's drunk, driving, gets caught by the police, and they're trying to figure out, well, did he legitimately get arrested? Did he get abducted? Or did he plan to disappear? And it seems like they're leaning towards that he planned to get arrested.
oh, I don't know. I think they're leaving all the options out on the table. But that is the precipitating event of the
Right.
series, and I like the fact that that's floated out there. I like watching everyone, no one loses their head or blows up like I would
Right.
feel like you would see in a more arm wavy American
Right.
version of this show, right?
Right.
Somebody would be saying God damn it, why was nobody watching him? Everyone's just as the situation kind of becomes slowly clear, you're just watching everyone very, very quietly and calmly freak the fuck out.
Right. Yeah. Like the scenes are really sad. Like in comics where something terrible happens and then you get just like a close up of a character and you could just hear them screaming internally. There's a lot of moments like this where it's just like people are just screaming on the inside, but they don't show it acting wise, but because the way the story's been set up and how well the characters have been developed, you're just like, this guy is screaming or this woman is just screaming on the inside. It's great.
The
Uh,
professionalism is really good. The execution of tradecraft that we see looks to me to be absolutely solid 5 park benches.
yes. Uh,
No, doesn't look like anything is being uh faked or just retreating to spy movie tropes and stuff like
right.
that. We're watching analysis where we're not okay, we're actually not seeing a lot of field work per se, but we are learning about these characters that do and have participated in field work. One really interesting thing, I think, is that our main character has just recently been suddenly called back out of the field after being looks like 6 years of
Mm,
deep cover,
mm,
and that he might still be kind of dealing with that on a personal level. 6 years of pretending to be someone else. How do you actually integrate yourself back into being in a normal environment
right.
where you can trust the people around you, or can you?
Right. Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of really good stuff, just very artfully done, of these people's personal lives and inner
Well, like that
truths.
daughter scene was so adorable.
Oh, okay. So the
Yeah.
best line, the best line. Said it. Tell us about that.
Yeah. He basically wants to see his daughter and he's being watched and he gets the okay or whatever and she comes in and she it's a typical father daughter moment, especially for a father that's not been around
For
and
6 years.
for 6 years, and he's asking her questions like a spy does and a dad does, so you get the exponential amount of the dad questions, and she's the typical daughter, well, you don't tell me anything, so I'm not going to tell you anything, and he basically tells her, well, my job is to make friends and blah blah blah, and she's like, well, I'm glad you were making friends. He was like, I was doing it for work. She's like, would you rather me kill people? She's like, Well, not really, but it would have been cooler. Like, like it would, and it's just, he hands her cash when she leaves, and then, he's like, by the way, you're going to be watched, on the way out, and so
And
if you
she's
spot,
like she's used to that.
right,
That's been her experience with him. She knows that
yeah,
he's a spy, just doesn't know like the details. And then
yeah,
her great line as she's leaving is, I always try to spot them.
oh yeah, and I'll give him a good wave or something, yeah,
You know, it is an adorable line,
yeah,
because she's aware enough of the situation that she knows that, having this guy as a father means that when she visits him, like, she's going to be followed. Like, they're just people doing their jobs, and that's perfectly normal and just part of her life. And I always try to spot them as just such a cute little confession. There are other delicate, perfect, like, touches of very slight humor in this show. It's a show that cares about its characters, and
yeah,
seems to have a warm heart, without
yeah,
being gushy at all.
right.
And I think that's my final notes on it. I would just say, like, man, if you like spy stuff, the only thing that should stop you from running to get this show is, if for some reason you're one of those weird people that just cannot handle subtitles.
Yeah. One of the things I really wanted to point out, the beginning with the police picking up the guy drunk, we don't get to see a whole lot of that. And I think I brought this up in Day of the Jackal that, like, even though the car crash scene was really annoying, if you go back and listen to our episode, I think I fleshed this out a little bit, but I am sure that there is like a wealth of stories from real spies of like when things went wrong, you know? And I really enjoyed that we got to see this. And it wasn't cheesy. It was like the dude's drunk and he's fighting off the cops, and whether or not he planned it, I really liked that it just opens with that, like it wasn't like he shot somebody or he got kidnapped or whatever. He's just driving drunk and the police pick him up. And now Le Bureau's got to figure out what's going on and contain the situation because he has way too much information that could compromise a lot of people, actually. Like, I think in the board meeting, they were talking about, like, okay, we need to, talk to our contacts or whatever and let them, just hold them back for now till we, like, manage the situation. Like, that's what I really enjoy about at least the first episode of what we watched. Everything seems hyper realistic on like a number of different like rank levels, from the big corporate meeting in the intelligence world to like the on the field, like when he's kind of training that lady at the diner and she has to go talk to these guys, and she pulls up a menu and pretends to be taking like, like a survey on their regular patrons on like changing the menu or whatever. It's like there's so many little moments that are like seem very human at the same time, like very realistic, like spycraft, so I'm really excited to actually get into this show. And when we figure out how we want to tackle television, like this is definitely on our like top lists of what we're gonna get to.
For sure. And that's a brush pass.
The preceding transmission sampled the song Enter the Party by Kevin MacLeod, and sound effects from freesound.org. Attributions and links are found at spieslikeus.net.